The president is the creator and the leader of the Make America Great Again movement. It's his baby that he made, and he knows what his supporters want. He was caught off guard by the bombing in Syria and also the bombing of a Catholic church in Gaza, which, as you know, I addressed at my briefing last week. And in both accounts, the president quickly called the prime minister to rectify those. And yesterday, as you all know, we celebrated 6 months of the Trump administration. It's been a pleasure to work with all of you day in and day out here at the White House. 6 months, the most transparent administration in history, if I may add. And I know the president just wanted me to highlight his accomplishments over the past 6 months. As you all remember, because you all covered it on the campaign trail, the president really promised the American people many things, but at the top of that list was to defeat the Biden inflation crisis and to secure our border and our homeland. And I think you've all seen in 6 months' time, the president has delivered on those two core campaign promises. Inflation is now running at a 2.1% annual rate. You look at our southern border, look at the numbers. Just last month, 0 illegal aliens were released into our country. And then look at what the president has done on the world stage. He has ended wars like India and Pakistan. He continues to work aggressively to end the war in Russia and Ukraine. He completely obliterated Iran's nuclear sites. He has continued to hopefully negotiate a ceasefire between Israel and Gaza to end that conflict and release all of the hostages. We've seen many of the hostages released as a result of this president's efforts.
Karoline, what's the White House's reaction to Senator Chuck Grassley today releasing the formerly classified Clinton annex showing that the Comey-led FBI failed to fully investigate Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, also failed to really look into thumb drives with potential national security risks on them, and emails from President Obama?
It comes as no surprise, unfortunately, and I think that's why you've seen the FBI open up investigations into the individual you mentioned and some others as well.
Karoline. The president just ordered the FBI to release the full Epstein files, just get it all out there.
The president has said if the Department of Justice and the FBI want to move forward with releasing any further credible evidence, they should do so. As to why they have or have not or will, you should ask the FBI about that.
Does the president have any message for the countries that are planning to attend the two-state solution conference taking place later this month?
I'm not quite sure he has a particular message for those countries. I think the president's message on this conflict we've seen in the Middle East taking place for far too long, that has become quite brutal, especially in recent days. You've seen reports of more people dying. The president never likes to see that. He wants the killing to end, and he wants to negotiate a ceasefire in this region. He wants to see all of the hostages released from Gaza.
So at 6 months, the president is also experiencing some pushback from members of his own MAGA base, especially on the matter of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Is the president satisfied that his own supporters are not heeding his call to let it go and to move on?
I know the president would reject that, Kelly. In fact, he cited over the weekend some polls showing that his approval rating with the Republican Party is actually at an all-time high. He's polling 90 to 95% amongst Republicans right now. That's higher than any Republican president or any leader of this party ever. The president is the creator and the leader of the Make America Great Again movement. It's his baby that he made, and he knows what his supporters want. Again, as I just answered, the president has told the Attorney General and the FBI director to release any credible evidence that they find, and he also signaled to them over the weekend to move forward with unsealing the grand jury documents that were under seal by various judges across the country, and I believe the Attorney General has taken the proper legal action to do that. Kelly.
You mentioned there also Israel seen stepping up some attacks in Gaza. Has the president expressed his frustration with Netanyahu, and how does this impact the ceasefire negotiation?
Well, look, the president enjoys a good working relationship with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu and stays in frequent communication with him. He was caught off guard by the bombing in Syria and also the bombing of a Catholic church in Gaza, which, as you know, I addressed at my briefing last week. And in both accounts, the president quickly called the prime minister to rectify those situations. And we saw Secretary Rubio intervene when it came to Syria. We saw a de-escalation there. And as for the bombing of the Catholic church in Gaza, the prime minister did put out a statement saying this was an accident and they deeply regretted that action on behalf of the state of Israel. still following his conversation with the president.
That President Trump or that FBI agents going through the Epstein files were told to flag President Trump's name if it came up. Is that something the president was aware of, or something that he directed those agents or the Department of Justice to do?
I don't believe that's something the White House was aware of. You'd have to ask the FBI.
Karoline, is President Trump satisfied with how aid's being distributed in Gaza right now?
Look, the president is the reason that aid is even being distributed in Gaza at all. He wants to see this done in a peaceful manner where more lives are not being lost. He hated seeing the pictures of starvation of women and children needing that, desperately needing that aid, which is why this administration came to a creative solution to bring that aid into the region. And we want to make sure that aid is delivered to people in need, but certainly does not end up in the hands of terrorists.
The White House has kind of sent some mixed messages whether or not his job is safe or not. Will Powell be allowed to finish his term as Federal Reserve Chairman or not?
Look, Mark, the president talked about this and answered these questions for you pretty extensively in the Oval Office. He has no plans to fire the Fed chair, but he has been very transparent in expressing his displeasure with Jerome Powell's management of the Fed and also his policies. And the president is right, by the way. He's been saying this for a while, but finally, economists and experts are agreeing with him that Jerome Powell should cut interest rates. If you look at our country, by every economic metric right now, it is booming. Look at the trillions of dollars the president has brought in foreign investments. Look at inflation, like I said, continues to go down. He's basically defeated it in just 6 months.
There are 11 days until that August 1st trade tariffs deadline. What can we expect between now and August 1st in terms of potential announcements of trade deals with any countries?
Look, I can tell you the trade team and the president himself continue to be very engaged with countries around the world when it comes to our trade agreements. You have the president of the Philippines who will be visiting the White House tomorrow. Perhaps this will be a topic of discussion. You will all see for yourselves in the Oval Office, as you always do. But the August 1st deadline is just really the start date for when the United States of America will begin collecting this revenue from all of the countries around the world who the president has sent these letters to. You could see some more letters before August 1st, John. You could have some more trade announcements as well. I can tell you the president, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Commerce, Ambassador Greer all continue to be in constant communication with our trading partners.